This is the Motorola Defy 2021 disassembly. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter so you'll be notified when I upload a new video. And if you need any tools, there are links in the description. First, the SIM tray needs to be removed. Next, we need to place a pry tool in between the back housing and the frame of the screen, and then we're going to pop off the catches on the back housing. Now when it comes to taking apart this phone really defies a disassembly. You're pretty much going to have to destroy the phone to take it apart. The way they built this phone is a terrible design if you need to do any type of repairs. Getting this rubber back off the assembly of the phone is incredibly difficult. I literally broke 3 tools trying to do it. I mean, you pretty much have to destroy the phone. There's no other way to take it apart. And even when you destroy the phone, I still don't see any way inside. Alright, so once the back is off, we can see there's an NFC antenna located here, and there's an antenna flex cable on top, as well as one on the bottom of the back housing. And I mean, I've taken a look at this phone all around and there is no way to get inside. The only way is to probably just rip this whole thing off, because it seems to be just like a sealed pouch all the way around. Even when removing the screen, there are no screws on the inside, and the cables run through the midframe, so there's no way to gain access through the front either. I mean, to me this is a terrible design, because if anything happened, you need to replace your battery for whatever reason, or any type of repairs on this phone is pretty much impossible. mean, really? Are you kidding me? As if it weren't hard enough to take this phone apart, there are still screws on the inside. There are 15 Phillips screws that need to be removed. Once we peel off this graphite film, there are another 2 Phillips screws underneath. Now finally, once those 2 screws are removed as well, we can lift up and remove this plastic cover. We now have access to the battery cable, which we can disconnect, and then we can remove the bottom plastic cover. This bottom plastic cover houses the bottom speaker assembly. Since there are no pull tabs to help us pry the battery off, we're going to have to use some isopropyl alcohol and get some around the edges of the battery and let it sit there for about 30 seconds to a minute to eat away at the adhesive underneath the battery, making it easier to pry off. Here's a better look at the battery. Once the battery is removed, we can see the screen flex cable over here, which is routed through an opening in the midframe, and this flex cable over here, which connects the subboard to the main board. The flex cable for the volume keys and power button is located on this side, and there's a latch at the end which needs to be lifted up to unlock it, and then the cable can be pulled out. The flex cable for the headphone jack is located on top, as well as the flex cable for the front-facing camera. There's a single coaxial cable on the bottom right of the board that can be disconnected by popping it up. At this point, there are 2 Phillips screws holding the board down, which need to be removed. Once those screws are removed, the board can be lifted up and removed. On this side of the board, there's the 48 megapixel camera, as well as the 2 megapixel depth and macro cameras. There's also a secondary microphone located on the top. The SIM card and memory card reader is located on the back, and the proximity sensor is located on the top corner. Once the shields on the back are removed, we can see thermal pads on top of the processor and RAM, as well as these 2 chips over here. On the bottom subboard, the flex cable for the charger port needs to be disconnected, as well as the other end of the coaxial cable. There's 1 Phillips screw left that's holding down the subboard. Once that screw is removed, we can lift up and remove the subboard. The primary microphone is located right here, and here's a look at the other side. Here's a better look at the charger port. Moving on, the vibrator motor is located on the bottom right corner. It's held down with adhesive. The flex cable for the power key and volume keys is routed through an opening over here in the midframe, so in order to remove them, you would have to pry the flex cable out from the side. The earpiece speaker is located on top, and that's also held down with some adhesive, and the headphone jack is located right next to it. So let's look at that midframe. Pretty strong. And here's a better look at your screen. As far as a repairability score on this phone, I give it a 0 out of 10. This phone may be an indestructible phone, however it's definitely not a repairable phone. So if you plan on getting this device, yeah, it's going to be a strong and sturdy device, but forget about making any type of repairs or any replacements. Personally, I wouldn't buy a phone that I can't repair. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.